All right, Jags Bengals, great game on Monday Night Football. This has been a good watch. Jake Browning has played excellent today. 26 for 30, 312 yards, a touchdown, another 22 yards on the ground, and a rushing touchdown. Kept his team in it all game, no picks. So Jake Browning, the Bengals backup in just his second start ever, has played excellent. Now we're seeing the Jaguars backup do the same thing. CJ Beathard looking very impressive. Jacksonville's quarterback Trevor Lawrence exited the game with an ankle injury. Here's fourth quarter. Beathard gonna run it himself, and he's brought down on 2nd and 2. The Jaguars, if they score a touchdown, they can win it. If they kick a field goal, likely they'll send it to overtime. Jacksonville going to take a timeout, figure things out here. Cincinnati's got 2 timeouts, so they're guaranteed to get the ball back at this point. Now, if Jacksonville gets a first down, they can run the clock down, kick a field goal, and send it to overtime. Brandon McManus, the kicker, looks like he missed one earlier. But the fact that the Bengals are in a position to potentially win this game with Jake Browning, a guy who didn't throw an NFL pass until this season, after 4 years of not playing, 4 years of being on a practice squad for the Vikings and backing up Kirk Cousins, who never got hurt. And there's Beathard, and Beathard is going to get sacked. Oh, the Bengals are all over CJ Beathard. And Beathard says, let's bring on the kicking team. And that's exactly what they're going to do. Cincinnati, are they going to call a timeout? It looks like they are. So the Bengals are going to call a timeout. They're going to try to get the ball back with half a minute to go. Zach Taylor thinking to himself, maybe we can ride the Browning magic one more time. We'll see if he can. 4th and 4 now. Brandon McManus is out to attempt the game-tying field goal. 28 seconds to go. And Jake Browning is ready to go. He's ready for action. The Jaguars win. They would move into a tie for the number 1 seed with the Dolphins and the Ravens. They'd actually be leading the number 1 seed because they'd have the best conference record. And they haven't played the Dolphins or the Ravens. So Jacksonville could really benefit from a win here. If the Jacksonville Jaguars lose, they would be 8 and 4, still a solid record. They'd be 1 game ahead of the Texans and the Colts, who are both 7 and 5. And they'd be tied with the Chiefs. They'd be the 4th seed in the AFC. So this is the difference between the 1 seed and a 2-game cushion in your division and the 4 seed, and McManus' kick is up and it is through. So Jacksonville will live to fight another day. 26 seconds. We'll see if Cincinnati can pull this thing off. If they can't, we'll end the video, and then we'll start a new video to react to the end of the game in overtime. But we'll see what Jake Browning can do. Does he have that magic? Now, I watched Jake Browning. I'm obviously from Seattle, if you guys follow the channel. I'm from the Seattle area. Have a Seattle sports podcast, the NW Sportscast. So I've watched Jake Browning play a lot of games at UW when he was with the Huskies. Great school. And he was always good with UW, but he had an injury his senior year. And that's why his draft stock kind of fell. Ended up being undrafted. Signed to the practice squad with the Vikings 2019. And he was on the practice squad for 2 years, 2019, 2020. Then he won the backup job over Sean Mannion in 2021, but Kirk Cousins didn't get injured, so they never needed Browning, so he was the backup. Then last year, he was back on the practice squad because the Vikings had Kellen Mond as their backup, and I think Browning may have played some preseason football with a few different teams. I think he kind of bounced around in the preseason, but he always would end up back with the Vikings on their practice squad, so clearly they liked him. This season, goes to the Bengals practice squad, beats out Trevor Siemian for the backup job. Trevor Siemian, a guy who started about 40 or 50 games in his NFL career, but they liked Browning more. And here he is now in the all-white Tiger uniforms, which, by the way, those uniforms are sick. The white for the Bengals against the black for the Jaguars. Both ferocious cats. I love it. I love these uniforms. This is cool to watch. But anyways, we'll see if he has the magic left on him. The Bengals' 9-game road losing streak on Monday Night Football. So that's something that not even Burrow has done. And he's going to take the snap and he gives it to Mixon out across the 35, the 40, and Joe Mixon with a great run, taking it all the way to the 43. Time now is going to be called a timeout for Zach Taylor. Yep, smart choice. And now the Bengals, 1st and 10, 20 seconds to go. That was a nice run from Joe Mixon, who's had a pretty good night himself. Not sure what his stats are. Let's see. Mixon tonight, 2 touchdowns, only 50 yards though. 60 yards, it looks like. But he's had an excellent game. 2 touchdowns, and that's exactly what the Bengals needed out of him in this game. 63 yards, he had 2 touchdowns, 14 carries. 46 receiving yards as well. And here's Browning now in the pocket. 2 receivers to the right side, 1 to the left. Mixon in the backfield. He's going to throw. No pressure. Now there's a little bit. He hits his guy, and it's... Wow, good second effort there. Great second effort there, but doesn't get very far. But he does get out of bounds, and that's what they needed. They needed to stop the clock, get out of bounds. Smart, heads-up football play. And there's Joe Burrow, obviously out for the season on the sidelines. Cincinnati, they need a win here. Because if they win, they're 6-6. Now you're only 1 game back of the playoffs, and you play the Colts next week. So if they win this game and then beat the Colts, they're 7-6. Potentially looking they'd be back in the playoff mix because they'd have the tiebreaker over Indianapolis, who currently has the 7th seed in the AFC. They also play Pittsburgh again, who just beat them. But if they can beat Pittsburgh, then they'd have the tiebreaker over Pittsburgh as well. And the Steelers just lost their quarterback. Kenny Pickett is out for at least 2 weeks, they're saying. They're going to be starting Mitch Trubisky, who hasn't won a start since early last year. And that's going to do it for regulation. Bengals not able to do it. Might as well keep this video rolling, to be honest. Now we're going to end it. So, yeah, that's this game. This has been a great game. There's some analysis, some reaction, and we'll see which backup can do it the best. This is Coast to Coast Sports. Like, subscribe, comment down below.